Hey, I am Keisha, life coach, spiritual life coach, motivational speaker, and I haven't been here in a while. I have been changing some things around. As you can see, I'm in a different space, and so I thought I would come on in. I am loving the light of just the daylight without using um, the ring light or anything else like that. I am loving just the natural daylight. Natural stuff gives me a calm and peace because it's of the earth. It's of what was put here for us. I don't need anything extra. It's what was put here for us. So I did my morning meditation. Um, I did my reading. I did my prayer, and I was led to come back. So here I am. I was led to come back and do this here today. And something that stuck out to me was he calls you by your name, not your shame. That is a very powerful statement. Men or women, it's a powerful statement because men have shame as well. The difference is in women, more often than not, our shame is noticeable. You can see our shame. And the number one way that people want to shame us um, is by labeling us. Multiple partners is the number one shame that people want to give women. Why? Because women are looking for love. Um, Oftentimes, growing up, women are fatherless in our community. And so we're looking for love and looking in all the wrong places. And oftentimes, when women just want comfort and cuddle, it leads into unwanted sex that sometimes we just give into because we're looking for love. And so often we settle. So when I was reading this morning, that's what it led me to, and I wanted to go ahead and share the message that you are more than you know. You are more than you know. And because he said so, you have to believe it and know it in your heart. Like he calls you by your name and not your shame. Gomer in the Bible, in the book of Hosea, was a prostitute, and so it doesn't get deep into her story in the Bible. But if you read it and understand, she was a prostitute. He bought her off of a block. Hosea bought her off of an auction block because he wanted her anyhow. God directed him back to her continually, and he searched for her, knowing her past and knowing who she was. He wanted her because she's called by her name and not her shame. Period. End of story. That's what it is. So she had went through some things, oftentimes as most of us do. She was molested, she was raped, she was she was treated like she was less than because of the things that she went through, none of them being her fault, but she was saw anyhow. She was saw for who she truly is, because who she truly is what God called her to be and not what people labeled her. So oftentimes, even in today, we get labels. And it might not be that label, but you might have some other labels that people decided to put on you. And the thing is, other people put labels on us, and we allow them to. So when somebody label you lazy, uh, stupid, slow, hurtful names that people will give you the title of, and that's actually labeling you. You don't have to accept it because you know who you are in you. And the thing is self-worth is a big deal. Um, when we're growing up, we are often not in communities where we talk about things like this or where people recognize it because one, most of us are single mothers, and so we are too busy working, growing up. And I'm not speaking, and even now, still with some mothers, but definitely back when I was growing up, and then my mother's generation of growing up, and her mother's generation of growing up, it was different. So it comes a time when you have to start putting into yourself and breaking that curse and breaking that chain, so it doesn't repeat itself with your children. So you have to look at that. It's not, nothing was intentional. Some things were, most of it wasn't. It's been years and years and years put into our families to be broken up. They made it hard for our men to get jobs and stay at home and provide for the families that they had. So what our men would do, because they're natural providers, something that's been poisoned in their head not to be. not because they don't want to be, because they are. They're natural providers, but society has made it hard for them. Even back then, when they made it hard for them to get jobs in the cities that they were in. So them being natural providers, they went to other cities to work, which was too far away, because you got to think at that time most of them did not have transportation. So now they're in a new city without their wife, without their children, but they're working to send the money back home, because that's what the goal was. That was the objective of them leaving. But the intent of the other people was to break up the family. And that's what they did. So once these men get in other cities, working the job, sending money back home, what do? They get lonely. It's a natural feeling to want to be touched and loved and hugged and catered to. Everybody has it. So it was designed that way. So when they get to where they're going, they're working, they're making the money, they're sending it back home, but now they're lonely. And what happens? They start another family. So there is where it starts. And before then, in slavery, breaking families up and selling them. So when they couldn't break us up and sell us anymore, then they turn into this design. Well, they'll have to provide for their families, so they'll go and send the money back, but now they're lonely. And so they make another family, and they forget about the family they left, and now that little girl is broken, and that wife is hurt and broken. And then she has a man that comes in that's not a man of her own, who really doesn't care about her children and hurts her baby. See, it started somewhere. It started somewhere. And it started before then, but this is just an example of how it goes. And so then you fast forward to today. Now we can get the education. I'm not an education pusher. I believe that I don't have to go into thousands of dollars of debt in order to use my God-given talent. That's what I believe. So I don't believe in that, but we have the access to the education. We have the access to the high-paying jobs. We have become entrepreneurs, and I'm damn proud of that we are awesome entrepreneurs. And so now that we can do everything pretty much that they can do, and they have to find a way to break us up, put them in jail. So now the man's off and he's in jail, and the woman home and she's lonely. So what does she do? She finds another mate, and the cycle continues. See, I believe in a thing called patience and waiting, because God is going to provide your every need. I've shared my story about what I'm going through with my mate, and he's still my mate because God told me so. I don't have a desire or a yearning to seek out or be comforted by anyone else. I don't. So with that being said, what I'm saying that just be patient. When you know what you know, and I'm not saying be patient in an abusive relationship. I'm not saying be patient when somebody is belittling you, because that's abuse too. Physical abuse, any kind of abuse. If he's not a provider, if he's not doing what he's supposed to do, and likewise on the other side for men, if she's not doing what she's supposed to do,